Hi everyone, it's Darby from rejoiceandcreate.com. Thanks for stopping by today. Well, I had made a small book box for seeds, but other things will fit in there as well. And I also made the large book box, and this one was for a sachet, but will also fit 5x7 cards. And I had a request to make a mid-size version that will fit an A2 size card, and here it is. It will fit the A2, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, as well as the envelopes, but there are other things that will fit in there as well, and I'll show you that when we get the box together. Now, one thing I wanted to do was not to have to cut into 3 pieces of cardstock like we did for the big box, so I actually made it so the pattern paper will do a little bit more of the heavy pulling on the inside, especially for the pocket. So let me show you what we need for this box. For the cover, we need a piece of cardstock that is 10 3/8 by 6 1/2. For the box part, we need a piece of cardstock coordinated, or the same one, that is 8 by 7 1/2 inches. Now for the cover of the book, we need a piece of patterned paper that is 4 1/2 by 6 1/4. For the front of the box inside, we need a piece that is 1 3/4 inches by 6. And because we're using the pattern paper for the pocket, we will also need a piece that is 10 1/2 inches long by 5 1/2 inches wide. Okay, this is for the cover, and it is 10 3/8 inches long by 6 1/2 inches wide. We're going to score this one at 4 3/4 inches from each end on the long side. So 4 3/4 on this side. Let's turn that around and do the same thing, 4 3/4 on this side. Because there's an extra 1/8 of an inch in there, and it's just easier to remember one measurement as opposed to eighths. All right, this is for the box. This is 8 inches long by 7 1/2 inches wide. And we're going to put the 8-inch side up and score it at 3/4 of an inch, 5 1/4, and 6. And then we're going to turn it and score it at 3/4 of an inch on both sides. So I'm going to turn that around and do that over here as well. The last piece we have to score is the patterned piece that is going to be the inside pocket on the front cover. So put the 10 1/2 inch side up, and we're going to score it at 6 1/4 and 9 3/4. Turn it to the side, and we'll score it at 1/2 inch on both sides. All right, so this is the pattern paper piece that we're going to use for the pocket. And the first thing we're going to do is on that long 6 1/4 section, we're going to cut off the 1/2 inch on both sides of it. And go ahead and cut right off that score line, but try to be as neat as possible. And you could always use the trimmer if you want to make a very neat cut. But we want to cut off the score line because we're going to fold the other part of the pocket around it, and we don't want it to bunch up and cause it to fold. Then I'm just going to take a very slight little wedge on this side and cut off that score line as well. Do the exact same thing for the other side. All right, so whatever side you want to show, and I want the pattern to show on the top of the pocket, go ahead and fold it up this way. And then fold that small piece down this way. And the last thing we're going to do is fold these 2 edges around to the back. And what that does is it gives us the entire width of the pocket for something to tuck in. We won't have any glue around it, so it doesn't narrow down the pocket. If we glue these to the back, it will give us the entire width for goodies. Plus, by doing it this way, we won't buckle the inside of the pocket by trying to fold this first and then fold that score around it. All right. Okay, so let's undo that for a second. And let's go ahead and put some glue right on the ends of these, and only on the end for the moment, because if you want to close it with a magnet, we're going to leave this flap open so we can tuck the magnet underneath. And then we'll go ahead and just glue these to the back. Now you can use wet glue as well. I have a challenge sometime using wet glue in the video because I tend to get it stuck all over me. Okay, so there's our pocket. And we're going to put that aside for a second until we need to glue that in. All right, so let's go ahead and work on the box itself. Go ahead and fold and burnish all your score lines. So on that 3/4 of an inch section on the end, we're going to cut in just on the long rectangular side of that score line and just take a little wedge off into that one. And we'll do that on the other side as well. Now turn it to the side, and on the sides of these, we'll just cut these tabs as normal. Cut right up on the rectangular side, small notch into the square side. Okay, so let's put our box together. And as I mentioned, I would use liquid glue, but because I get it all over myself on the video, I'm just going to use the Extreme Tombow tape for now just to get it together, but I will reinforce it with glue later. All right, fold these both in and put adhesive on the side of this one. All right, so the little tabs go all the way in. These tabs wrap around it, and go ahead and square up that side and stick it. And then put that little tab up against the inside. And you can burnish those down. Okay. So let's work on our cover. All right, so cover is pretty straightforward. Just fold and burnish your score lines. Make sure you line up the edges at this point. I like the look of a rounded corner, so go ahead and round your corners too. If you want to keep it straight, go right ahead. Okay, so that's our cover. Now let's put it all together. Now, if you want to use a ribbon, what I would do before I put either the pocket or the box on, the pocket or the box, is to lay that ribbon, and I lay it right along where my folded over edge of the pocket is. I lay it right along there, underneath it, and glue that on. Give yourself enough room on both sides to tie a bow or a knot or whatever you want to, and glue that on now before you put the pocket on, because then it will hide the ribbon underneath it and make a really pretty finish on it. You could also use a Velcro dot or a belly band if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did the magnet part of it, because I actually hid the magnet away underneath this lip, and it works out pretty well. All right, so because we are using a magnet, we're going to go ahead and glue both the pocket and the box in place. Now, there's two edges of the outside of the pocket that are rounded, so I'm going to round my pocket as well. I should say the cover are rounded, so I'm going to round my pocket as well. And let's go ahead and glue that down. All right, so go ahead and press that down well, and if you want to, see, I make a mess when I glue. All right, so go ahead and press that down well, And at this point, you can actually put it under something like a book just to make sure that's sealed well before you move on to the next step. But I'm going to go ahead and press on by gluing my box in. And just go ahead and press that center top to bottom and right up against the binding, because we're going to glue that right to the binding there. All right, make sure your box is pressed all the way. And then go ahead and press the bottom down. And then turn it sideways and press the side in. All right, so let me go ahead and get my magnets in now. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slide this under this lip of paper here, and it hides it really nicely. But I want to make sure that I'm in from the edge far enough that the edge of the mat will cover it without buckling up. So I want to get this one in at least 1/2 inch to the edge, which means it's 1/4 inch from the side of the book plus the 1/2 inch. So it's going to be about 3/4 to 1 inch that I'm going to slide this in. And I'll just stick it there. All right, so let me stick the other magnet in place. And I did take the backing off of the adhesive side, but I want it to really stick. All right, so I'm going to put a glue dot right on the back of this. Stick it well, because it gives me a little extra catch when I try to get it into place. So let me go ahead and do that and get it into place by squeezing it down. And you might, because these are strong magnets, you might have to get something in there just to break it free from the other side. All right, there we go. And then go ahead and press that in place. All right, so now we are lined up with a nice closure. I probably could move that a little bit closer to the side, but I'm going to go ahead and put my mat on now. Oops. Okay, so I left that a little long. Let me remeasure that one and see how long I needed to have it. Okay, so this one should be 5 3/4 inch. Let me cut that down. All right, so make sure this one is 1 3/4 by 5 3/4. And I'll change that one on my intro. All right, press it around really well where the magnet is, and actually what I do is I turn it over on the edge of my table, and I actually sneak my hand up. I sneak my hand up underneath it and kind of press it down on the edge of the table to make sure that it's burnished well. All right, there we go. All right, I've already created a thank you sentiment for the inside. Let me get a little glue on that one. We'll put that in place. And to finish it off, let's just go ahead and mat our cover. So here's the pattern paper. Now we have 2 rounded corners on the outside. So let's go ahead and do our mat as well. You know, again, you don't have to round it if you don't want to. If you want to leave everything square, that's fine. And let me go ahead and glue that one down. And you can go ahead and tuck some stamps in there. And I have some cactus stamps I could go ahead and tuck in. And I went ahead and pre-made a matching card. And as I said, the male teachers probably would appreciate some thank you notes as well. More masculine feel. And they will fit nicely in there. And you probably could fit about 5 cards and their envelopes in there if they're not too heavily embellished. But I think it turns out to be a really nice gift for the male or female teachers, or anyone you want to gift some cards to. But as I mentioned, there's a few other things that you can fit in here as well. So let me take the cards out. So the box is 4.5 by 6 by 3/4 inch deep. And you can also fit most mug cakes in there. It'd be a really cute treat for a teacher or for anyone. You can also fit, and I'm thinking ahead, a couple of packets of hot cocoa in there. It will just barely fit, but you can also get some popcorn in there. It is just 6 inches long, so it will just tuck in there. At least the Orville Redenbachers. And that would make a really cute gift as well, and tasty. So I hope you like the project and give it a try. And if you like the video, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to be notified of new videos as I upload them. For more information on this project or others I've done, please go to rejoiceandcreate.com. And as always, until we meet again, I hope your days are blessed. Bye!